And here we are, right? So, yes, from the old video, right? From the last video, I looked at the last section of how to find and land high-paying consulting clients, where it is the consultation or the tips to land more additional clients, like show your face, because the idea here is that you want to create a distinction between your digital avatar from yourself. And the remember, this is a numbers game. Okay? Having a business is something that you have a really thick skin for that, and especially uh, when it comes to offering a service, Upwork, or it is important to remember or to ask yourself a couple questions. What am I doing right now? And I am putting myself in the best possible position to move forward. And also, I look at the consultation sell tips to land more clients. Where we have is like listen more, use speed, use solution selling process, and add value. And also, I look at to see yourself as that missing piece to complete the client puzzle, to solve the client problems, and that is put the business goggles here, business lens here, especially when you are going to deliver the results that the client expects from you. And then uh, this process of how to offering is a solution to your client, the solution selling process, where you have the prospect journey. This is when you find the right client, and then you start to reach out to them, try to get in front of them to get their attention. And then once you have a list of client or prospect or sell leads, you qualify them by asking questions. And this is all about to decide if that client is a good fit for you. If that is the case, well, you do a deeper discovery calls to do even more fact findings about if you want to work with me, or if it's going to end right now so I can move on into the next project. And ultimately, once you reach to some sort of agreement, then is where you send the proposal and add value. So let's say the client say, "Hey, awesome! Send me some information more about it." And this is when you compile all your expertise and suggestions, and you offer them a couple options where they can go with. And because half the battle is to tackle objections, and the idea here is that the more you're able to listen, be on point, and ask the right questions, you can narrow down and find out what the real objection is. And this is all about, listen more, asking the right questions. So you tell the client the truth that matters, that you are the solution to their problems. And if the objections most of the time can be boiled down in three aspects, whether it's the budget, the value, or the time. So, for example, if the objection is the value, you might show then your portfolio, your past experience, or is budget. Well, you may offer is a lower option, right? And also follow up your clients, because the idea here is that the more you're able to follow up, listen more, uh, tackle all of the objections that arise. It will put you into a whole nother league and get creative to stand up. So after that, uh, then I look at the ways of how to invoice clients or the client payments, because most of the time freelancers and consultants uh, make mistake in that process. And with this method, will help you simplify all of the things and prevent further issues and getting bad reviews or bad reputation uh, from your clients. Like, so it all starts with get your service agreement signed, and inside of this service agreement, you're going to put, you're not going to guarantee any result. You're gonna simply put is that you're gonna provide the best possible quality outcome based on your best effort. And also that you want to be clear about the client payments or the payment terms here. Whether there is, if there is something out of the scope and the client wants to do that, wants to add that, you tell them, hey, uh, there is additional charge from that. So the next step is to secure the payment based on the agreement, whether you offer is an hourly rate or a uh, yeah, whether you offer is an hourly rate or based on a milestone. So, for example, if you do that and you tell the client upfront that you need, let's say, 50% of the budget, and the client comes with any excuse, you can tell them, hey, I can't start working on that if you're not provide me or secure the payment. And if your offering is an hourly rate, uh, you may want to reach to some sort of agreement with that client to get payment monthly or I mean weekly or bi-weekly, right? And once you do that, then is when you start to offering your consulting service. So this is to avoid get ripped by the market, especially. Uh, and then I look at the place where you can offer your freelancer, so for example, like this, your like freelancer websites or personal invoice. Especially, I have used Upwork in Soho. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, it's like you don't want to get ripped off by the market, so you get to you sorry, so get serious about money. I also look at a couple examples and the scaling to multiple sorry scaling to multiple consulting clients. So the next step you want to take once your consulting journey, or in this case, once you land some additional clients, you know how to send a proposal, you know how to secure payment, and you start to get some progress. You have to remind that the ultimate goal is to scale to multiple clients. So this is how you grow your business, and in turn it will get you steady income. And this is something that aligns especially to what Alex or Mosi mentioned, right? Which is that most business are worthless because they're offering customer solution or tailored solutions to their clients that are not scalable. Okay, and in my case, offering a service, uh, unless I create a business around that, okay, and for that you're gonna hire people that do that, you know, that might be one way of doing business, all right, by hiring other developers, and then you are responsible for making all of uh, the important decisions. And and by that I mean is well, the, the course, the financial course, and also the politics that you need to play with as well, the internal um, issues that may arise, or conflict resolution skills that you need uh, to face in your internal organizations and in with external providers on your in your market or in your industry as well. You know, it's something that is not easy, uh, and I get it. Why most people dedicate their life is to marketing, to sell the idea, because no one actually wants is to put the effort. No one generally wants to put the effort. He just wants to hear what others have to tell you, even though that other people they barely have put any attention or they barely have done anything in the past. You know, they just want is to, and it's funny. It's this model, this business model. Uh, when you have to sell an idea and let the others work for you, and ultimately, if that idea fail, it's not your fault. It's someone else's fault. You know, it's the economy, it's the government, blah blah blah, whatever. You know, but after all, you enjoy the life as the CEO, the manager, stuff like that. But in any case, that is a challenge for most business owners. All right, perhaps I might be prepared to do that. You know, um, and because I make this pause here, uh, that doesn't necessarily align to my own values or my own principles or stuff that I want to do, right? So far, it allowed me to capitalize, or it will allow me to get some money, so having a financial substrate that I can move on forward, okay? Uh, but it's so right now what I'm doing is well recording myself, improving my communicational skills and business skills, and also looking at the how the foundation when building a consulting freelancer career, then getting started for that, uh, where place where you can find land, have paying some clients, uh, and ultimately, well, scaling to multiple clients is the ultimate goal uh, of your business, especially you as a service provider or this one business, one person business model. Okay, when you do the marketing using these platforms like YouTube, TikTok, whatever, you use them. You also offer a service, and you ultimately help the community, your close community, and also your family, and so on and so forth. Uh, so, uh, yes, remember that the ultimate goal of this is to scale into multiple clients. So you grow your business to have a steady income, and again, this is part of the fundamental of consulting success. That you have cash flow, and also the security and the lifestyles that this gives you, the flexibility that these lifestyles give you. And one key to scale your business is through referrals. Okay, again, the reason why I'm recording myself and also providing is the service in platform like Upwork is to show to myself and then others the value that I can provide in a particular field. Okay. Okay. Cool. Then also, this is something important as well. Use the customer relationship management to keep track every interaction that you're having with any sale leads or prospect or existing clients. And if you struggle with it, remember that it's all about getting leads. So remember to repeat this process, which is get some business leads, show them value, and build up your reputation and repeat. And then I look at the section 4, which is how to conduct proper research as a freelance consultant. Since right now I'm going to dedicating is time to the fee as the business consulting service, right? Uh, I don't know if this actually one. Perhaps at the beginning, this might be the thing that I want to do. All right. So starting to offering is my freelance consulting service, and then I need to align myself with how to conduct a proper research and gather quality data and all of the topic that come along with, right? After I click here, please. So yeah, right now I'm using this container for that. No, here. So yeah, so here is describing the this aspect, right? This is how to conduct proper research, freelance and consulting, how to conduct a proper research and get quality data, how to create effective and appealing consumer reports, create reports with Canva, data visualization. This is perhaps one of the beauty of all of the things, data visualization and communication tips for consulting. Communication tips for consulting. How to use A/B testing as a consulting as well, and then developing your personal brand, freelance consulting. Right. Top benefit providing by building your personal brand. Kind of the thing what I'm doing right now. Okay, by recording myself and creating is this documented series of my learning process, building an online presence and producing content. Nah, nah, nah. And how to embrace collaboration as a consultant, building a community for maximum impact. Nah. Yeah, okay. So yeah, how to conduct proper research as a freelance consultant. This is something funny because this is not only for consultant, all right, and how to conduct proper research. I will argue that this is one of the relevant skill for today and the future for anyone. Since right now we're living in this information era. Uh, so especially if you want to talk about a particular point topic, it is important to check out your data. What are the source of that? And in any case, uh, mention that. All right. But that is in the context where you're having a conversation. Okay? That is in that context when you have that conversation with someone with other people uh, in a casual way uh, to bring them value, and also they can give you value, something called serendipity, which is a marvelous discover, um, anonym, a surprisingly discovering. Let me know what it is. Serendipity is a surprisingly unexpected discovery. Serendipity. I am not yelling. So, what about English Wikipedia? Yeah, right. Serendipity, right? Or it's an unplanned, fortunate discovery. Unplanned, fortunate discovery. Okay. Serendipitous invention. Like post-it note, Velcro. For real? Silly put. What the hell is this? Um, Bob Cycle. The original brand, Bob Cycle. And penicillin. What? Really? Penicillin is is part of the serendipity? The antibiotic penicillin, which was discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming. So, after returning from a vacation to find that a petri dish containing Staphylococcus culture has been infected by a penicillium mold, and no bacteria grew near it. And no bacteria grew near it. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. And they started to sell that like this? Shit. Oh, the effect on humans of the psychedelic lysergic acethylamine and acid lysergic acid diethylamine (LSD) was discovered by Swiss chemical Albert Hofmann in 1943 after an intentionally ingest an unknown amount, possibly absorbing it through his skin. Ooh, nigga. What the hell? Great, alright. Serendipities of a new species of lancewind, male flirt. Mm, interesting. I know about that. The first note use of serendipity was by Horace Walpole, 2018 January 15, 1754. In a letter he wrote to his friend Horace Mann. Walpole explained an unexpected discovery he made about a lost painting in of Bianca Capello, what? Who was the mistress and afterward the second wife of Francesco I de' Medici. Are we talking about mistress? Was an Italian nobleman who was the mistress and afterward the second wife of Francesco I de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. No, no, no. This is way down in the rabbit hole. In any case. So serendipity. Uh, interesting. Interesting. Produce a weak adhesive and a college used it to keep bookmark in a place of a church. Hymnal. Interesting. Post note, Velcro, and penicillin. It is very okay. Yeah. In any case, so go back here, right? So back here, okay. My mind already go to 14 points, 14 millions of possible scenarios here, just like Doctor Strange. Like so, here I am. I am here. Okay. So yeah. So right now I'm looking at how to conduct proper research as a freelance consultant. So how to conduct proper research and gather quality data. Data is incredibly powerful and has the ability to inform, persuade, to reinforce your viewpoints, and to reinforce, and to reinforce your viewpoints. However, it can also be misleading. So in this video, we're going to see how to conduct proper research and gather quality data. Yeah, one of the powerful ability of data is that it can inform, persuade, exactly. It can inform, persuade, or reinforce your viewpoints. However, it can also be misleading. So when you conduct a research for a consulting project, there are a couple types of data that you can gather, and it is important to understand which data is the most valuable, and which one is the least valuable. Okay. Uh, so yeah. So when you conduct a research for a consulting project, there are a couple of types of data that you can gather, and it is important to understand their difference: the most valuable and the least valuable. Okay. So the first party data, to get into this type of data, that is data collected from the company or the client you're working on. So this type of data is the most valuable and is usually confidential. So the client will usually want you to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, because you're going to share first-party data with you, or they're going to be because they're going to share. They're going to share first-party data with you, and this with you, and this when you can get all the data that is relevant for your consultation. Um, okay, with you. And this is when you can get all the data that is relevant for your consulting project. Getting historical data as far as they have is a very helpful to see what they have done in the past to help influence your decision and recommendation. And especially if you want to improve certain operations, okay, uh, because there are different type of of consulting projects. For example, like a strategic, where you're going to outline what are the in this type of project. So in the strategic, you're going to outline is what will be the uh, recommendations and suggestions and possible implementations. Yeah, because why am I repeating this? Uh, Especially when I look this part of the core the core aspect the core aspect of this. Especially when I look at the type of consulting project. Okay, the improvement and the implementation. This is what I will. This is what I want to do. Yeah, because the this type of consulting project, especially when once you start a consulting project, uh, so whether it is strategic when you develop a strategy, planning to help their business to reach their goal. This is a strategic. The improvement, develop a plan to improve certain areas of operations and implementation. So delivering is the strategic and improvement you make. So deliver the strategic and improvement recommendation you make. So looking at this type of consulting projects, strategic, improvement, and implementation, especially as a software Node.js developer, uh, what you can outline is, well, what actually is crucial and the most important things to solve. What are the most uh, what is the most uh, cru- what is the most urgent uh, things that we need to fix to avoid lost money, you know, to avoid bleeding out. So we avoid bleeding out the company. Basically that. So focusing on that. Most of the time there are improvement that you're gonna do. Okay. Most of the time there are improvement and implementation. It is very rare for the strategic unless you have an extended experience working with them. Okay. But the whole idea is to look at the strategic improvement and implementation as this type of consulting project when you starting to work with them and gather quality data, especially from their business, because their sharing is this delicate information and delicate and confidential information. Uh, so getting historical data as far back as they have is very helpful to see what they have done in the past to help influence their decision or recommendation. Is this. And then I look at the second part. So for an example of this, right? Before moving on. So an example of how you can, by looking at historical data as far back as they have, it's very helpful to see if they have to see what they have done in the past, and to help them influence your decision and recommendations. So for example, let's say they are using. So let's say they're having some bottleneck in a particular endpoint. Okay, so by identify what type of consulting project is, okay, so this is not any strategic because here you are not developing a plan to reach their goal. Most of the time they want something that is concrete, okay, to find out what happened, okay. This is a common thing on, or I will argue that it's a common thing on those companies in the tech industry, where you provide is a improvement, okay, and here is develop a plan to improve their um, develop a plan to improve uh, their Jesus. Develop a plan to improve their operations or their critical operation. So, for example, if they have a bottleneck in a particular endpoint, so develop a strategy and a plan to get all of this historical data, okay, what they have done in the past, as far back as they have, uh, and then make better decisions based upon that. Okay, so let's say that they have some blocking operation in there, Okay, so that function have a blocking operation. Perhaps they are doing this, or they are relying on some JSON parser function, and that's something that block the event loop. So by identifying is that, so you can say, oh, well, we can is take this and create a worker, for example, or let's see how necessary is to make this data treatment, let's say, right, or this parser. Uh, but yeah, that's the whole idea, or at least that's an example of how you can is once you identify it's a type of project, the consulting project you are, and the client agreed to reach to some sort of agreement, and once you develop is the roadmap, and especially for the improvement areas, where most of the time the vast majority of the company on the tech industry rely and require professional that can look at that and see, hey, you know what? This is the issue. This was the problem, and so on and so forth. Uh, so, so with that, you need is to gather all of this uh, data as far as they back. And most of the time, and based on my experience, that most clients on Upwork, all right, they want you to extinguish their fire. So I want you to do this. Do that in the next 2 days. And if you don't want to, and if you don't do that, it's like you're going to receive a negative review. And that's one of the things that you need is to evaluate, especially, of course, if you have time and budget to allow you to do that, to say no to clients, great. However, if you're not, if you're at the beginning of your journey, well, you need to take whatever job it presents based on your niche, which is the it's not a group of keywords. It's a group of people that they have a large problem to solve. They're actively looking for a solution. There, there are people that are willing to pay for the solution, and ultimately, it's something that you have interest in. So, um, so yeah. So to conduct a proper research uh, and gather quality data, okay, since data is, and again, I'm repeating myself here, it's just to reinforce what I have learned so far. So, since data is incredibly powerful to persuade, inform, and reinforce your point of view, however, it can also be used, or it can also be misleading. So, conduct a research for a consulting project. Uh, when you conduct a research for a consulting project, there are a couple type of data that there are a couple type of data you can gather based on how valuable they are. So first party data, this is the type of data that is the most sensitive and confidential because this is data that the company has collected. So the client will usually want you to sign an NAD for that. And getting historical data as as far back as they have is very helpful to see what they have done in the past to help influence your decisions and recommendations. Great. Okay. Things starting to align themselves naturally, or a little bit more. Then we have second-party data from a trust source. The next type of data is the second-party data, and this is collected by different type of source, whether it is paid or free, and it is very beneficial because it comes from a trustworthy source, credible source, that they are not anonymous source, and they have great record of data, research report, or peer review. Example of second party data, right? Let's say you're working in the finance sector, and for some reason you don't know a lot of the jargon that they have when they talk about. For you, it's like Mandarin. What's that? Exactly. So, if you want to know a little bit more about this data or all the jargon that they use in the financial sector, we have second party source or yeah second second party data for this trust source, like Investopedia for that, or Morningstar as well, you know, where you can look at their data, okay, since they have a great record of data, research report, peer review, aka a think tank, most of the time, right? Uh, and you want to keep two set of notes here, and then you want to keep two set of notes, one from the first data, of one for the first party data, and for the second as well. And then we have is the third party data from aggregate source. So this is the least valuable source, since the quality of their source are not always verified, and usually this type of data are behind a paywall, and you may not know every single author. So when we talk about paywall, um, example of paywall, right? So paywall is a method of restricting access to content with a purchase of paid subscription. Well, a paywall, okay. Oh, the great example of paywall is OnlyFans. A great example of paywall is OnlyFans. These are the Colombians. These are the hottest Colombian OnlyFans. Have you seen your content? Jesus fucking Christ! Stop simping, man. Stop simping. Yeah. Change the call center for OnlyFans and now earn thousands for their adult content. Yeah, I will do that. I don't blame her. It's like, babe, really? Of course I'm going to do that. Oh my god. No, this is something that I'm going to send this to a friend. ah, me promoting is bad. No, wrong, man. Wrong, wrong. I promoting is financial success through paywall. Oh my god. Oh my god. Uh, it's not easy. It's not easy this life. Again, easy choice, hard life. Hard choice, easy life. Period. Period. So that is a paywall, right? It's a method for restricting access to content with a purchase or a pay subscription. So Netflix, OnlyFans, Hulu, Disney Plus, you name it. So they base their content distribution using a paywall method. Okay. So this is the least valuable sources, according to Paul Mendes, the third-party data, and this is the least valuable sources since the quality of their source are not always verified, and usually this type of data are behind a paywall. You may not know every single author. The other is perspective. So make a research, make it sorry. So make a research for different perspective, context, and you always play David advocates with yourself. Something that I'm very, very, very good at. Nothing is black or white. Gather as much relevant information as possible and take notes and keep records of every source you obtain. Evaluate the quality of each source. So look for evidence of quality control by asking questions like, is this from an anonymous source? Find out the author or find out who the author really is. Quality control, so poor grammar or website is not new age or something feels a little fishy. Uh, Poor visual representation. And remember to circle back for additional info with the client. This is to actually understand a little bit more what the client wants, to also keep up the pace, especially when you're starting a consulting project. Okay. Uh, so with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode here and wish you the best. Take care. Bye bye.